Good evening and welcome to a brand new season of Taco Tuesday in the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. Round 1 of the 9-round championship takes us to Mount Panorama in Bathurst in Australia. I'm Tom Kent in the control position, providing you with the details for tonight's action. And we've got probably the biggest ever grid we've had in Taco Tuesday in Tier 1 anyway. I won't be alone in the commentary box because I have a man who knows his way around this racetrack, and of course in a lot of the ACC stuff involving the FRL, it's the man from Northern Ireland himself, Craig Law. Good evening, sir.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely loud and clear from my side. How's everything with you?
Yes, all good, thank you. Sorry for the late arrival. We have real life things, unfortunately, but everything all okay. Hope you're doing well and excited to join you for this.
Should be fun indeed, and as I've rightly mentioned, we've got probably our biggest ever grid in Taco Tuesday. I know in Tier 2 they've probably got a bigger grid than what we have, but nevertheless 35 drivers have entered tonight. We do have a few missing, but nevertheless we're still in for some cracking action on a track like Mount Panorama. I mean, anything can happen really. So let's run down on who is competing in this particular tier of Taco Tuesday. We've got Chris Gedman, Jack Prentice, we've got Ed Sterling, Luke Prentice as well, Ben Milden, Will Rayner, Josh Clayton, who's not around tonight, Demian van der Waal, Nico Busov, Jeffrey Godefroy, two drivers of which who were consistent last season. Stuart Hutchison is also in, Peter van Leishout, Kevin Drouin, Mauro Arsenio, Steve Caruana, Farclov Epistle, Joel Leher, Morgan Grace, Camille Makowski, Baz Brinkoff, Liam O'Neill, Adam Lang, Arkadiusz Mihulka, Bruno Canavera, Fernando Ferreira, Dennis Novak, Florian Schaefer DCR, Marcus Rumbach DCR. I think they're probably part of some form of league, I would expect. Both of which from Germany anyway. Francisco Sousa, Connor Byers, Adam Sharp, Jan Spike, HRT Spike. There's also Chris HRT Faster. I'll just keep mention it as Faster for now. Mateus Dybel, Diman Ivanov, Michael Kleiboer, Sean Cole, Will Freeman, Ahmed Aldori, and Melvin Crows. A few of which are not around this evening, but I'm sure they will be back in the weeks to come. Let's have a look on the calendar for this season. As obvious, Bathurst is the first race tonight. Laguna Seca is next week. And then we go to Misano, Suzuka, Snetterton, Watkins Glen, which will be the second of the two 90-minute specials, the first of which being tonight in Bathurst. Alton Park will play host to round 7. Zandvoort will play host to the penultimate round on December the 5th. And the final race will be at Indianapolis on December the 12th, in time for the championship to be completed before Christmas being around the corner. From what you've learned, and in terms of how the Taco Tuesday series is set out to be for its 11th season, since the FRL has been around for around about nearly 3 years now, it has to be said, Craig. How have you found the league altogether, and perhaps this Taco Tuesday series? Are you a fan of it?
Yes, it's an incredible series, I think, and I think what's so great about it is that you get the Super Sprint Sundays on Sunday, obviously, and you really get a feel for the track. And in many ways, so if anybody's unfamiliar with Super Sprint Sundays, is that you get a 20-minute sprint race and then a 40-minute sort of feature race, a bit like F2 in that regard. I mean, not to disrespect people who probably that is their one championship and the ones that they take absolutely seriously, but it is a bit of just a fun learning experience. And then, you hopefully get all your mistakes out of the way, and then you get to Tuesday and you take that one seriously, and that's where you really apply your learning onto the track. And I feel that it's just a really, really intense series, I think, at times. And I've had some of my best races in Taco Tuesdays. I think that you just get such a good, really great combination of, I think we've got some of the fastest drivers on PlayStation, if not the fastest. And it always feels like every season you get some incredibly fast reserve drivers, I can't remember his real name, but Jazzman, and we get a couple of these really just absolute aliens joining, and it always you just constantly keep testing yourself against new people. And I think the drivers this season will find that. I think the likes of Vortel, who's and Assetto, who were sort of, obviously in the McLaren last season, they'll find themselves up against new opposition this season, and everyone changes cars. Um, I was kind of seeing is Vortel racing this season?
I didn't mention his name on the list when I went through it, so I can assume that he may
Ah,
not
right,
be
okay.
around, which I'm quite surprised by because he was absolutely magnificent last season, picking up 2 wins along the way, on his way to the title, and by finishing in the top 9 in every single of the 8 races
Yeah.
that he did.
Yeah, and he definitely dominated this championship, and now everybody's got a new reference point then. So that's very interesting. Of course, you got, and in the McLaren, everyone has their accusations about how overpowered it may have been last season. But I mean, even still, you saw like there was still, it's a bit like the Red Bull and the Perez, Max Verstappen comparison. You still had people who in the McLarens, he still struggled at certain tracks, whereas Vortel put in the consistency. So everyone's got now a new benchmark, and it looks like it's from practice anyway. It looks like Assenio's probably got the best grip of the circuit. But yeah, Nutako's is brilliant. I think it's also, I mean, the final thing I would say about it is just it's every week. It's relentless. You finish one race, and you're on to you won the next week. Whereas some, obviously, there's some other leagues where it's every 2 weeks, or or endurance series where it's like once a month, and you kind of, I know you've commentated on some of my slightly not the best races I've ever had in my life, and the kind of the best things you can do is just put it behind you, and then immediately you kind of back to practicing for the next one. So you never really get to like sort of dwell long on like a per race, if you know what I mean.
Well, I have to say, I've commentated on some races involving you, not just in Taco Tuesday, but also in the Swap Endurance Championship, because I think were you partnered up with Will Freeman by any chance?
Yeah, that's right.
The
Yeah,
French Connection team, wasn't it?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I think that's whenever we were testing the swap feature, the driver swap feature, which really just sort of, I don't think it didn't even get patched into the game. It was somebody found it like a glitch in the code, and to our miracle, it actually worked. Those have been tremendously fun, actually. I think he's moved on to another. I think he's actually genuinely now got French drivers in the French Connection team, which makes a lot more sense.
On to the action then, as practice reaches its conclusion. Mauro Senio fastest with a 2-minute 0.9, nearly 2 tenths clear of Damien van der Waal, who has gone in for an improvement on his finish of last season. 14th he ended up with 104 points, bearing in mind he had a 5-point penalty for a late checkout, or he didn't turn up after he actually checked in, did Damien. His best result being 9th, that came in the opening race of last season. That would have been at Monza. Who are you tipping for success this season? I suppose it could come down on how many races they actually do, but since they've actually signed up to this, I would expect a lot of these drivers to do all the races, if not miss one of them and still do all the others.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. It sometimes comes down to, because we don't have. Do we have a drop score? I think for this season.
I don't think we do, as far as I know. I hope that's not the case. But I think all the 9 scores will count.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I would say in that case, yeah, it really is. Sometimes, I mean, you look at last season, right? There was, how many points was there between Vortel and Nico? There was not that much, right? So, and I know from a couple of seasons ago, whenever I was full time and I missed 2 races, and I'm pretty sure without those 2 races, if I'd kind of finished in the top 3 or top 4 of those 2 races, I might have won the championship. You just don't know. So like for a lot of these, it's kind of like when you sign up for tacos, you need to be able to make. If you're serious about the championship, you need to be able to make all of them. Definitely, for sure. I mean, who would I pick? There is a lot of fast drivers in new cars. As we start qualifying now in the pitch blackness. But yeah, just to kind of, I'll finish off this point, but just I think Melvin Cruz, I would say, is rapid, usually in a Ferrari, but he's now in an Audi this season. You've obviously got Nico, who's in the Lambo, which is an interesting car. With the recent BOP change, it's slightly quicker this season. But yeah, I mean, you can't. I think Asenio's in the mix. This you got Aldori. There's so many potential race winners in this field, so it just comes down to who's got their setup nailed, who gets this lap in, and we're probably on one of the most. We're in a 90-minute race on one of the hardest tracks on the calendar, and it's so easy to make a mistake. Believe me, I've done it
Yeah,
many
well,
times.
we've seen it all before. I even remember in the swap endurance race, we had quite a pile-up on the exit of McFinley Park, involving, I think it was Tom Bellarmine that spun off the racetrack, and a few of the other drivers who would have been in contention for the race win had it not been for that accident, ended up being eliminated on the spot, which was very, very unlucky. But it just shows that, you know, one driver that goes off ahead could cause an absolute pile-up behind.
Yeah,
You've just got to make sure that you're absolutely tooth for nail and on it all the way through. I don't know what the timing of the race start will be. I don't suppose you know that particular part, do you?
No, I don't know actually. I can't say. I can't see the in race timings on spectator mode, so I don't know. I would imagine they're probably going to start. This is probably what, sunrise, and then hopefully it'll be. I mean, Bathurst at night is not the nicest thing to race on. I've never done it, but I never want to do it.
Well, this circuit is a challenge in itself anyway. Do it in darkness, and it's 100 times harder to do. I haven't really raced in ACC myself, but I can imagine how hard it would be, even for someone with the vast amount of experience as what you've got. It just, you know, I didn't.
Yeah. It's so much about, like, I think, especially when you go through the mountain, it's risk and reward. Like, obviously in qualifying, you absolutely give it your all, but as I'm sure we're jumping on board with, is it Clover? Yeah, it's about risk and reward. In qualifying, you go all for it. You're meant to kind of, I mean, we'll join on board here with Clover here, but you're meant to just go absolute full throttle throughout the mountain section, and to do that with a full. Well, I'm no doubt these guys will be carrying like maximum amount of fuel going over that at the start of the race. It is sketchy as hell, especially in the first couple of laps, but in qualifying they'll be absolutely nailing every corner here.
So Clyboa in the number 3 Audi making his way up the hill. Just trying to remember all the corner names. I'm not as familiar with Bathurst as I am with the more familiar tracks that you would see in Formula 1, but I know this is McFinley Park. This is the corner I was alluding to, that we saw a big accident in the swap endurance race a few months ago. That was
and so that's exactly where he went off there. See where he went off in the curb? That is so easy to do because the bumps are just so. You have to set up your car to ride those bumps, because if you haven't got your car set up right, you're going to have a really horrible race, because that is so easy to lose it there and it compromises your whole lap. But that seems like a good exit there onto Conrod Straight.
Correct. So the Conrod Straight is where Clyboa is coming through. I don't know what he's doing in terms of times, but I suppose we can only find out once he does actually cross over the line as he heads towards the chase, which is like a mid-speed kind of chicane, if you want to put it in those words. As Clyboa makes his way through there, there's one more corner to go, which is Murray's, and he'll be heading over the line shortly after the exit. And we'll see what this time. You want to be, in terms of the pole lap, it's probably going to be a low 2 minute something. So 2 minute 0.
It's 2:01, I would say. You're
Yeah.
looking at a low 2:01, I'm pretty sure. I think I remember doing that in the last race.
Freeman's bettered Clyboa's time, albeit briefly, as Schaefer goes to the top with a 2 minute 1.9. We'll look to see who else is actually doing well. Novak is up in there in 5th place in the number 38 Honda, albeit briefly. Godofroy is in 4th place now. Ivanov is 3rd in the number 44 Lamborghini. And just looking to see who else is actually on a lap at the moment. We'll go to Demian van der Waal, who's coming out of Murray's corner now. 2nd fastest in practice. And this lap time that he's just done has put him to the top by a 10th over Schaefer. So it's a decent first attempt in qualifying from the Dutchman.
Yeah, no, I would say one of the biggest things for qualifying here is getting space, and I'm on board with Nico Busov, who's, I would say, one of the contenders, surely, with his space, and now he's just had to back way off there on the first straight, and that's exactly the problem. Traffic ruins your lap here, and there's no way to get through as he returns back to the pits. This is a problem now with a 35-man grid, or women. I don't know if we have any women, but a 35-man grid, and you just have to be, finding a space in itself is skill.
Ben
And as we're
Milden,
seeing quite a few yellow flags, I think, out there.
I'm just looking as Arsenio goes to the top now by quite some margin, a 2-minute 1.3, which is a very good first lap in qualifying for Arsenio. The track is going to pick up. Track temperature 16 degrees, air temperature 16 degrees. So it's not very cold, but it's not very hot either. The drivers would have preferred that kind of climate anyway. It's gone past 5 a.m. But in terms of the time transition is multiplied by 2. So by the time the session will be done, it'll be like 5:30 a.m. We are uncertain in terms of what the time of the race start will be over in Mount Panorama. But for your information, we should get underway around about 9 o'clock British summer time.
I'm seeing quite big gaps. These are really, really big gaps. And I'm just looking at the likes of Ben Milden, Aldori, who's rapid. I don't believe he's 3 seconds off the pace. Melvin's 2.4 seconds off the pace. There is so much more time to come, surely, from these gentlemen.
Another driver I would maybe look out for as well, Craig, is the Season 9 champion, Sean Cull, who had an absolutely torrid defence to his title last season. He missed a number of races, and whenever he did compete, he usually floundered. And he'll be looking to put that right this season and rebound from that. He's yet to post a time so far. 25 out of the 35 drivers have posted a time so far in this qualifying session. We'll run down on who is where from top to bottom. Arsenio is fastest, nearly a whole second clear of Damien van der Waal in second place. I did say it was going to be a 2-minute 0, and so far in this session we are already there, so I'd imagine there's going to be faster times between now and the end of qualifying. Damien van der Waal is second, then it is Schaefer in third position. In fourth is Jeffrey Godefroy, then it's Morgan Grace in fifth. Will Freeman, one of the most experienced drivers in the FOL, was in sixth place because Connor Byers has gone to second place now with a 2 minutes 1.9. That was a very good time there from Byers to put himself up into P2. The track is very much picking up now.
Yeah, and I'm just on board with Sean Cool, as you said, and he's gone a pretty tidy lap. He's just coming through the last few corners now. Let's see what he can do. It was really tidy through the mountain section. I was on board with him. He's got quite a lot of guts on the accelerator. Let's see him coming through the line. And he goes 11th. Okay. It's a good lap, but there's so much more time to find. That is a rapid time from Arsenio.
99 Porsche as well. Arsenio making the most of the space that he's been able to use. But they've still got 6 drivers who have yet to post a time so far in the session. Will Rayner is in the pits at the moment, as is Luke Prentice. Chris Gedman, we've yet to see a time on the board from him. We've also got Leher, just trying to remember his first name. There's a number of drivers I'm not that familiar with in comparison to others, so I can only apologise for that. Joel Leher is the one I was alluding to, driving in the number 320 Ferrari, the 296 GT3 that he is competing in. And I'm just looking to see where he maybe ended up in the second tier last season, unless it's his debut in Taco Tuesday.
Just while you're looking that up, I think a reason why some drivers, as Gedman does, go 30th, some drivers like Luke Prentice may be wanting to start at the back. I disagree with this tactical approach, but some people like to start at the back because of the chaos that may ensue on lap 1, which, fair enough. I prefer to be near the front, but that's, by the by, that's what people's opinions are.
Will Freeman is actually improving. Well, he actually improved to second place in the Lamborghini. Will Freeman finding time everywhere he can. Van der Waal down to 4th place now. Got Mihalka in 8th, ahead of Canavera and Ivanov. Fernando Ferreira is 11th, ahead of the Season 9 champion Sean Cull. It's Nico Busov, multiple race winner in Taco Tuesday. I'm looking to see where he actually won last season in Taco Tuesday, did Nico Busov. He didn't actually win a race, despite the fact that he actually finished second in the Drivers' Championship. But I do recall that he won a race in Snetterton in Season 9.
Indeed, and to be fair, he wasn't too far away from the race win in Kota last season either. That was extremely close between all 4 of us. That was probably the race of the season for us. As Van der Waal goes, he goes a little bit quicker. He's half a second slower now. The drivers are finding time, but Arsenio is definitely finding the most out of anyone. I'm just on board with him going through the mountain section, and that Porsche is planted.
Everywhere he drives the car just does everything he asks it to do. And he's very much making the most of it here. He is coming up to traffic though, so I'm not sure this lap he's doing is going to be the best one, but we'll see.
Yeah, he's just backed off, which is fair enough. I think he thinks he can go faster. I'm quite surprised the Porsche. I mean, the Porsche. Everyone knows the Porsche is not great on the straights. It's definitely not the fastest car but you make up. It's a strange car. I mean, I've not really driven the car before, so I don't know. All the feedback that people have given me is that it's a strange car to drive. It's very much got its own driving style. But some people obviously have a better grasp of it than others.
Porsche celebrating 75 years of operation. It's very much a celebration over at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, where a lot of their historic cars participated in the hill climb. It's a nice stall with all this sort of sports cars that they had on showcase, as well as the Porsche Formula E car. There were obviously rumours or potential of them supplying engines in Formula 1 in the future, but that fell through eventually. But you never know in terms of maybe when a new Concord agreement gets put together in about 5 or 6 years' time, could that maybe convince them to come back to Formula 1? Who knows?
Indeed, and now all of them are massively backing up in the last corner here. And Van der Waal I thought was on a good lap, but he's just kind of slowed down, pulled off. He's pulling off the racing line now. You have to be so careful and not getting in people's ways. They're really, really clamping down on overtaking unnecessarily during qualifying. You can get some serious punishment for that.
See Arsenio pulling off the circuit. He knows he's probably run out of fuel or something. Not sure if he's going to have time to get round. He might do, but he's going to be very much up against it, is Arsenio. But looking how the times are panning out as they are, I think he's done enough to take pole here. The question is, who's going to be on the front row next to him?
Indeed. I'm just looking at the gaps, like in terms of the sectors. Like Arsenio's done purple sector 1 and sector 2. Interestingly, is a Canavera in the 296 has got the fastest sector 3, so that's the straight. So it's there you go. That's that's where they're making up the rest of the time. But yeah, he's 3/10. He's only a tenth up in Nico on sector 1, and then no one's coming. Oh, Van der Waal's just come 55.7 there. Oh, no, that's a while ago. But sector 2, yeah, there's about 2/10 down for Van der Waal to Arsenio in sector 2. So there's still time to make up for all of them if they all just put together their best laps. It is a beatable time. As Van der Waal is going through major traffic here through the mountain. Oh, that was close.
It's coming down. The dipper is Van der Waal. He's coming through Forest Elbow now as well. On Rod straight. Seen a few position changes. Francisco Sousa is now up in 4th position in the 321 Mercedes AMG. Colin Byers punching above his weight so far. It is the first race after all, so that, of course there's a long way to go yet. It's the race that does matter. There's no points for qualifying, of course, but in the race you win, you get 40 championship points, and you can also get 2 for setting the fastest lap of the race, regardless of where you actually finish. The top 11 are separated by 2 points, so it's like 40 points for the win, 38 for second. As we watch Sousa go over the line, he's down in 6th. Oh no, that's Van der Waal who's in 3rd place now. Godefroy second.
Look at that. Dead. Oh, Will's gone into 2nd. Amazing
stuff. Freeman up into 2nd place, and that's his last time lap. Arsenio's in the pits, he's not coming back out. And Godefroy, I don't know if he's got anything left in there. He's in 3rd place right now. Van der Waal there as well. Kloboa has stopped after doing his last run. Busov gets over the line to start one more attempt. The checker flag is out now, so anyone on a lap can finish it. And we're looking to see who is crossing over the line. It's difficult to see the numbers actually because there's so many cars out on the circuit. We've got the 678 heading over the line. That's Jack Prentice. He goes 21st, which is not too bad. His brother Luke, I assume it's his brother Luke, who's also competing, has not set a lap time. He's not going to set a lap time in this qualifying session. He may even start from the pit lane actually, just to ensure he stays out of any first lap mayhem.
Yep, and Nico just really got there right on the line. So watching him through the section, he's the only. I mean, surely he has a lot more to improve here. As Canavera goes up to third with his last lap attempt. Oh, and Nico's just hit the wall on the mountain, and that's it. That's it for his lap. Ouch.
Yeah, we're with Godefroy, who's coming through the chase. Murray's is the last corner before the end of the lap. Harris is going to put the Belgian. It's gone into form from last season. Front row for Godefroy. 2/10 away from pole as well. That's a great attempt there by Godefroy right at the end. Who else is also improving? Morgan Grace is not on a lap. Byers is not on a lap. Schaefer is coming through the last corner now in P11. Does he go up the order? Third place for Schaefer. Excellent from him. And we're just looking to see who else is making the last attempt. We've got Ben Milden, who's 20th right now. He needs to get up the order. Goes up to 16th on the 8th row for him. We've got the number 41 that is coming round the last corner now as well. That is Arkadiusz Michalka in the number 41 Lamborghini. And he goes up to 9th place. That's a great last attempt. And we've got the 696 of Faster coming through in the 696 Ferrari. He goes over the line. And I think he might have improved, but he's only 27th. So at the end of the first qualifying session of the new season, it is Mauro Arsenio who is on pole position ahead of the Belgian Jeffrey Godefroy in second place. Then it's Schaefer in third ahead of Will Freeman, both of which will be on the second row. Bruno Canavera is fifth ahead of Damien van der Waal. Then it's Klaboa and Grace on the fourth row of the grid. Arkadiusz Michalka and Nico Busov on 9th and 7th. Francisco Sousa and Connor Byers are 11th and 12th. And then we've got Novak and Cameron McCossie on row 7. We've got Ivanov and Ben Milden on row 8. Fernando Ferreira and Sean Kull on the 9th row ahead of Will Rayner and Adam Sharp. Peter van Lyshout is in 21st place ahead of Jack Prentice. We've got Kevin Duran and Farklov Vizel on row 12. We've got Spike and Ahmed Al-Dori on the 13th row of the grid. Faster and Dybel are on row 14, with Crows in a disappointing 29th position. He must have got caught up in traffic during his qualifying attempts. Joe Leher is in 30th place ahead of Brinkoff, and Stuart Hutchinson are on the 16th row. Steve Caruana and Chris Gedman on row 17, and the only driver to not set a lap time is Luke Prentice. He'll start from 35th and last place on the grid, which I think he'll probably start from the pit lane.
Has that been on purpose? Only he will know. So, wow, what an interesting grid we have. That is a complete shake-up of what we had last season. I mean, apart from Arsenio, but fair play to him. He was, fighting for wins last season, and he's completely changed car, and he's still top of the timesheets. That's always a sign of a really good driver, so fair play to you, Arsenio. I'm really happy for Friedman. That's a really great time for him. And Godefroy as well. I mean, Jeffrey, he is quick. I know I had a couple of tangles with him last season, but that was only because he is a fast driver and he's very, very, very hard to overtake. So he definitely has the widest car I know in FRL. But yeah, some really interesting, some surprises in there. I'm quite surprised at Melvin Cruz down there in 29th. He is a fast driver. He must be just getting to grips with that Audi. I know he's been driving a Ferrari for a long time, so that's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, Ben Milden down there in 16th as well. It seems like the Audi drivers are just, some of them are definitely struggling with the balance of the car, with the exception of Kleiber there in 7th. But yeah, interesting to see the different field spread of the teams as well, like the different manufacturers. It's good to see, as opposed to seeing the top 5 being McLarens or the top 5 being Ferraris.
Yeah, it's very nice to see a mixture of manufacturers in there. Obviously, we've got Porsches, we've got Ferraris, we've got McLarens in there as well. Lamborghinis, we've got a number of Lamborghinis in the field, it has to be said. We've got Audis as well, Aston Martins, Mercedes AMG, Honda, BMW, and I think that's it. I think that's all the manufacturers we've got in there. But nevertheless, we are going to be treated for a brilliant first race of the season. I don't know what the track time is over there, but I don't think it matters too much at this stage. It looks like it's sunrise, so visibility will improve as the race goes on. It's a 90-minute race, 2 mandatory pit stops included. You do not have to change. You do have to change tyres, but in terms of the fuel, that's depending on how the drivers go about it, really. They could fuel the car all the way to the end, or they can refuel at their pit stops, which could then obviously take longer to do.
Indeed. I would say that you'll get a mix of drivers. I'm going to look at one man, and that's Ben Milden, who loves a splash and dash, and he will very likely go to the end. Or he'll probably pit on lap 1 and then do the rest of the race on one set of tyres. Because he is... I don't know, you have to make 2 minimum stops, don't you? So... I mean, he'll probably try and do whatever he can there to... I think what you might get is it just really depends on lap 1, because depending on accidents or whatever happens, you might get a real mix of drivers just pitting on lap 1, cutting their losses, and then doing as much of the race in clean air to get away from the traffic. But yeah, very interesting to see what happens here. It's a very short pit lane, so the pit loss isn't as bad as, say, somewhere like Catalonia.
I mean, it's one of the most undulating circuits is Mount Panorama, and I think the drivers are going to be in for quite a challenge with there being this many cars in the field. As I've already mentioned, there are a few missing tonight, so hopefully we'll see them back for the next round next week. I will remind you, the next round will be at Laguna Seca in California, USA, on October the 24th, so make sure you do tune in for then. We are less than a minute away from the start of the formation lap. I'm just looking to see who is maybe considering starting from the pit lane. We don't have any confirmation of anyone starting from the pit lane, but that could well change as the formation lap progresses.
It's I'm just on one of the driver streams, and it is a 6 a.m. start, so we will definitely obviously go to 7:30. I think the track temps will probably stay quite similar. It's not the worst. The worst changes are the ones where it starts at like 3 p.m. and the track's still hot, and then it goes down to gets cool. That's a real big challenge for setups and changing your tire pressures.
Senna will be focusing on how he positions his car for the rolling start. They'll do a warm-up lap to get the tyres into the operating window. Once the green flag is waved, which will be in around about 5 minutes time from now. Arsenio leads the field round on the opening lap. This is Hell's Corner that they're going through. We've seen plenty of accidents. We saw it in one of the super sprint races on Sunday. I think it was with a 24 car field as well, so goodness knows how this is going to pan out. But how much are you looking forward to the start here? Who do you see making up places at the beginning?
Who do I see making up places? Very interesting. There will be winners and losers. That is my prediction. It depends. Yeah, it really depends who gets through this first sector. I think it's surprising that the straight that they're on right now, it's quite a narrow straight, and there always is, for the best will of the world, there always is a driver or two who don't check the mirrors when they're veering left or right. I mean, we see it in F1, don't we? So even world champions like Lewis Hamilton still do things like that. So it's a matter of just I've actually raced. I think it happened at the start of the sprint, the swap series, but there was an accident on this straight on lap 1, and you just have to really keep your wits about you. You have to be prepared to stop at any moment. It's a straight, but sometimes the best way to avoid accidents is to not drive straight, but also to just be prepared to kind of go off the circuit a little bit, be prepared to brake, be prepared to just see what's coming up ahead of you, and not I think what advice I would give to all of these drivers right now is just kind of lift off. It's a 1 hour and a half race. It is not a 20-minute sprint race. to just keep your wits about you, keep it straight, get through lap 1, and see where your race goes from there. I think that probably the biggest thing I'd probably just shout out a little bit is that the field spread is really large. There is, I mean, judging by qualifying, about 3 to 4 seconds between first and last. That can always maybe induce, I think, a blue flag. Blue flags will be, hopefully it won't be an issue, but it will be something that everyone will have to contend with.
Let's run down on the grid then for the first race of Taco Tuesday in Tier 1, the Pro category. It is Mauro Senio is on pole with Jeffrey Godefroy in second place. Then we've got Schaefer and Freeman line up next to each other in third and fourth places, with Bruno Canavera and Emin van der Waal in fifth and sixth. We've got Clyde Boer and Morgan Grace in seventh and eighth. Arkadiusz Mahilka and Nico Busov rounding out the top 10. Francisco Sousa and Connor Byers are on row 6, with Denis Novak, the home hero, hoping to go well in Bathurst today. Yeah, around about 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that over there in wherever he is in Australia. They do have different time zones in Australia, so I'm not 100% sure what time exactly it is over where he is, but best of luck to him today. He's alongside Kamil Makovsky. Then we've got Ivanov and Ben Milden in 15th and 16th. Fernando Ferreira and Sean Cole are on row 9, ahead of Will Rayner and Adam Sharp. Peter Van Lyshow and Jack Prentice are 21st and 22nd. Kevin Drouin and Varkov Abyssal are on row 12. Spike and Farsa, the two HRT drivers, are 25th and 26th. We've got Ahmed Al-Dori in 27th, ahead of Dybel and Melvin Crows. Brinkoff rounding out the top 30 as well. Leher and Hutchison are on row 16, with Steve Caruana and Chris Gedman on the 17th row, and at the back is Luke Prentice, as he didn't set a lap time in qualifying. So we are ready to go for the first race. Who is going to make it through turn 1 first, and how many are going to get through without any mayhem? It's a long race, no need to rush it. The race is not won on the first lap, but it is where you can have your race ruined if you get it so wrong, or happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. We await for the green flag from the marshal as the cars come onto the start-finish straight. When the green flag is waved, we'll be racing in Mount Panorama. The green flag is waved right now, and they go. Arsenio looks to defend the inside line, which is going to into turn 1. So Arsenio gets in front there, ahead of Godefroy, and I think there's a little bit of a tap further on behind. They look to get through the first corner of Hell's Corner. A few drivers are running wide, but it looks to be that everyone has got through there safe and sound as they go on to the first of the back straights.
Yeah, unbelievable. I was just on board getting the view from behind from Dial Barrel, and just a few bumps here and there, but actually, yeah, wow, brilliant. Well done, everyone.
Fabulous to see. Hopefully we'll keep it that way, but there's still a long way to go yet, as we are with Nico Busov, who, as they're just coming through the sector times, just wait. Oh no, there's an accident behind. First incident of the race. It's the 174 that's been tapped around. We'll look to see who that is. It's Kamil Makovsky who's been hit, I believe, and he's pointing the wrong way, and there's a traffic jam. There's a traffic jam going on there, and Kamil Makovsky's windscreen is damaged heavily, and he's becoming a bit of a stumbling block for the other drivers. They seem to be getting through there now. I think there's a couple of cars in the pits, Craig.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. So I was on board with Hutchinson. He was just he was an absolute passenger and was just stationary.
We've got another off. Sorry to interrupt. We got another off. It's the 987 by the looks of it. I'm trying to see who that is that's had an off.
It's HRT Spike.
Yeah, he's had a shunt, and I think he's damaged the windscreen as well. He'll be in the pits at the end of lap 1. And we're just looking to see who is in the pits. So we'll see the sector times as they update. But the race order so far: Arsenio leads, Godefroy second, Schaefer, Canavera, Freeman, Van der Waal, Kleiboer, Grace, Busov and Mihalka in the top 10.
It was also good up until after the first three corners. It was also well behaved, and then I don't know, it must have been just someone got spun round, and the track is just so narrow, and you've still got about 15 cars still to come through, so it's to be expected. But hey, we've got the top 4 at least all intact, and the main race protagonists are still in battle. I think we've got the 911 of Ferreira, who's just gone off at the end of the Conrod straight there. I don't know what's happened to him.
Well, Well, just looking to see who is in the pits at the moment, and I think Melvin Groves is one of those that's in the pits after the accident on the first lap. So just going to see Ferreira, who's had a spin as well. He's in the pits as well, so that'll be his race compromise, and that's going to be a lot of repair work done.
Schaefer's come into the pits from 3rd place,
yep.
So he's done a lap 1 pit.
Yep, so he's actually had an incident somewhere on the 2nd lap. I didn't quite see what happened there. Incidents left, right and centre. Plenty of cars in the pits. There's about 10 or so that are in. A long way to go yet so far as Arsenio looks to keep hold of the margin. 1 second it is over Godfrey. Canavera is in 3rd place now with Freeman 4th. Van der Waal is 5th. As we look to see, is anyone making a move? Well, there's someone running wide there. That is Maholka, who ran wide at Fenbury Park. Is looking to fend off the number 38 Honda of Dennis Novak. And he's managed to keep hold of the position. It could have ended in tears there for Maholka, but thankfully he keeps the car pointed in the right direction.
And so Souza, Sharp and Barrel, sorry for mispronouncing your name, have come out of the pits. So I think they might have been involved in that lap 1 incident. So they've just come out of the pits now, surely a lap down. So it might be a bit of a miserable race for them, but never say never. Mistakes can happen from everybody in the whole field.
I think they've actually stayed on the same lap as the leaders, because Arsenio still hasn't come around to complete the 2nd lap yet. So I think those are still in the pit, come out of the pits are still on the lead lap. There's no safety cars, of course, in this game, so it doesn't really matter if you do really go down the line. It's not like you go completely out of sync if the safety car does come out, like in the Formula 1 game cycle. But the 2nd lap is done, and Canavera has posted a new fastest lap of the race.
Indeed. So he just I wonder what the pace is like for the Ferraris here. Do they have better fuel consumption over the Porsche? That's going to be the key. Does it look after its tyres a little bit better, and will it be able to hang it around those corners? Canavera definitely has the pace here to take on Godefroy, and if he does want to kind of get up to 1st place, then he does need to get through. But the top 3, it's good to see that they're still nose to tail here, really covered within 2 seconds.
A couple of more drivers in the pits as well. Busov and Byers, I think they're scheduled stops. I think they want to get their first stops done and out of the way, which I don't blame them actually, because that way they can actually get out in some clean air. But just looking at Arsenio in terms of his lines up the hill, and look how close he's going to the barrier as well. Oh, indeed, someone's had a shunt. I've just heard a shunt. I thought I heard a hit with the barrier further behind. I might be hearing things, but I thought I heard quite a bang further back.
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Okay, my apologies.
That's me. It was me opening my drawer. I am very apologetic for that. I was finding a pen so I can write this. I'll write these pit stops down.
Okay, it's okay. Back to the action. Arsenio is only 9/10 clear of Godefroy, who's closing in, as Canavera, who is very much coming into his zone at the moment in the number 46 Ferrari, as they come onto the Conrod straight. Will Freeman is not too far back in 4th position. He's having a good race so far. This is probably the best race I've seen from Will Freeman in a long time on Taco Tuesday. Van der Waal just keeping it clean so far in 5th place in the number 433 McLaren. And then we've got the number 3 Audi of Clybauer, who's having to fend off Morgan Grace, who's had a good beginning to this one.
Indeed. So Canavera's closed up to Godefroy within 3/10. And they're still only within a second of Arsenio, so the race for the lead is way on. I really very curious to see how aggressive they're driving. If you're saying that they're sort of going right up to the walls, it's quite a risky strategy with so much fuel on board, which I imagine these guys are carrying if they're not pitting on lap 1. So we reckon, so Nico has done a tactical pit stop on the first lap, so he's just taken Leha in the Ferrari, and Jake Prentice has just pitted there, so he's also doing a although he's got quite a lot of damage on his rear of his car, hasn't he?
Just looking to see if he actually does have damage. I can't quite see, but yeah, Jack is in the pits. He was running quite highly before he came in there, but I think it's more like a tactical pit stop there for Jack, unless the handling of the car isn't. Oh, and I've seen was that Godefroy that nearly hit the wall there as he came through. He's got Canavera all over the back of his gearbox, and if you get it all wrong if you get it wrong in one corner, it's almost game over, and Godefroy nearly dropping it there.
Godefroy is so close to having a swapper there. He is pushing to the max, absolutely on the edge through that section, but that's the fastest way. Canavera gets really, really close. I wonder. The good thing about these two Ferraris is that they don't have to bother with one car having a massive straight line advantage. This is an equal fight between two of them.
Oh, clipped!
Oh,
Godifrey's in the wall. Godifrey's in the wall from second place, and he's rejoined behind Freeman, and he's got damage to the car, so he'll be in the pits at the end of this lap. Will Godifrey. That was bound to happen as he was offline up the hill, but as he came out of Forest Elbow, that clip with the wall did all the damage to put him down the order a couple of positions.
Oh, it's so easy to do. It is so easy to do when you think the fastest way is just clipping that wall. Well, just about on the edge of clipping that wall. He just went a little bit too far. It's such a shame he bounced across the track and hit the other side. So he will definitely pit and do his mandatory stop if he keeps it on the track. He skipped over the edge. That should be okay. That's so unfortunate for him. But he can bounce back, I think, if he can just do... Obviously, I don't know how much damage he has. It depends, really.
That's given Arsenio the buffer he needs for the time being. 3 seconds he's got over Bruno Canavera. Freeman up in third place now, with Thunderwall now fourth. Clio will be up in fifth, ahead of Grace, who is closing on the gearbox of the number 3 Audi as they come towards the right-hander of Corrie's Bend. Seeing Novak behind as well, who's had a good beginning to this one. Mahalka is also in the pits. Ben Milden has got up into 9th place now in the 111 Audi. Will Rayner, having a quiet race so far in the number 5 Ferrari, is in P12. And I believe Melvin Crows is no longer in the server, so that's his race done, and he'll be frustrated with that. Not a very good qualifying from him, and he just found himself right in the thick of it, and was just in the wrong place at the wrong time as they came through.
He's posted a clip on the Discord of his incident, and it was not very good. I was just going to give a shout out to Chris Gedman, actually, who's now in a battle with Luke Prentice going over the mountain, but fair play to him. His first time, his debut in Taco Tuesday Pro. And he's faring decently. He's actually, avoided the chaos, really.
That is all it needs. I mean, especially on a track like this. I think if you just keep your car out of shoulders, every chance is just saw Druin get right over those curves very heavily, leaving a trail of sparks. It's not quite a bonfire display there for Chris Gedman, but bonfire night is not too far around the corner in the UK anyway. But Gedman is very much keeping the car on the circuit behind Duran as they come through Forest Elbow, and I didn't think Chris would be that quick, to be honest with you, for this category, but so far I don't think you necessarily need to be quick. It's just keeping the car on the circuit and maintaining some sustainable pace.
Yeah, and points are rewarded all the way down to 20th, isn't it?
30th.
I think 30th. Yeah, so that's still, if he can maintain that, that's good points, big if, but fair play to him for hopefully keeps that up. But yeah, so just looking at the battle, so Will Friedman was just a little bit, he was closer to Canavera, but he just had a little moment at the end, at the exit of the final corner, which is easy to do when you're pushing a bit too hard. But what about this? We have 3 different manufacturers in the top 3, and as we've just seen with Godefroy, anybody can make a mistake. Absolutely anybody. It can punish you massively. And we're seeing Grace and Kloiber, who are very close going up the mountain here, Audi versus Ferrari, both in very similarly bright colours of the cars.
Their way up the hill and down again. How will they get through this part of the circuit? I see a trail of sparks. Oh, and Grace getting out of shape, but he's off! Grace onto the grass, but keeping it all together there, and only losing the place there to Dennis Novak as he rejoined. He was very, very lucky there, was Morgan Grace.
Yep, so easily. This can happen just so easily, as I keep saying. It can happen to anybody, especially when you're pushing and you've got somebody in front of you that closely. You get the dirty air effect in ACC as well, and that can always cause problems. As there's someone gone off. There's someone gone off there in front. Who's that? The 446. Is that Canavera? Canavera's hit the wall.
Yeah, he has. He's dropped places down the order as Canavera. I'm not actually sure he's actually damaged the car, to be honest with you. I think he may as well have had a spin. But yeah, Canavera, who was in second place, has dropped down behind what looks like Dennis Novak.
He's got extreme damage. He can barely keep the car straight. his car is scraping along the ground. He's I can hear that. That's he's completely destroyed that car and taken out the 50-meter board for good measure. Oh dear, I think he lost it probably at the same corner there as Godfrey, I'm guessing. He must have just absolutely clamped. He can barely steer the car. He'd be lucky to get that into the pits.
Down to 10th place net is Canavera. He's behind, or is he behind Druin as well? Oh no, Canavera's there. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong driver earlier. He's actually has got damage. I was looking at the wrong driver, so I can only apologise, Craig. But yeah, Bruno Canavera has got quite a bit of damage, but at least he hasn't had too far to go to get to the pit lane. So this will be the first of his 2 mandatory stops, but this repair work will cost him time.
Yeah, he was really shy. Yeah, I think you're looking. Yeah, he must have absolutely clattered the wall because he could barely keep the car straight. He must have, like, that is, I guess, a minute's worth of damage. That is destroyed it. What was really, really good pace from him. But it's elevated Will Friedman up to second, which he must be delighted.
Schaefer hasn't rejoined the race, unfortunately, and neither at the moment has Peter van Lyshout. He's just gone into the pits via the pause menu as well, so that could be his race run, unless he decides to actually continue. Arsenio's lead is nearly 4 seconds. I was just watching him go through McFinley Park. He actually put 2 wheels on the grass, and I think once you're in that situation, that's when you need to lift off the throttle, because if you continue to put more power onto the rear tyres, that's when the car starts to really lose the rear on you in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're completely right. I think Arsenio's biggest enemy seems to be himself. If he, that's the only person who can defeat him right now. All those rivals are just taking each other out, or taking themselves out. So as long as he keeps it clean, I think he's obviously in a fantastic position to win from here. But yeah, he just needs to keep it clean from now on for the rest of the race. But as we say, everybody's kind of running into problems. It looks like Canavera is still in the pits, so that's taking such a long time to repair that damage. Or I don't think he's returned to garage. I don't think he's retiring. The car would look a little bit different if he was doing that.
Well, he actually toured into the pit lane, did Canavera, so it's clearly a lot of repair work being done to his car, and he's continuing to fall down the order as we speak. He's in 29th, is showing in number 46 Ferrari. But yeah, he is completely out of sync with the leaders, and it's going to be very difficult for him to claw it back from there.
Indeed. We've got a battle between Novak and Grace. Novak being... Is he a new driver? I don't remember unless he's got a different PSN name. He's been driving with a PSN name, I'm not sure, but... in the Honda, no less, completely different. I've never really seen the Honda being raced in ACC before.
Well, I haven't seen Novak either, and what we've seen from him so far, he's doing a sensational job in the number 38 Honda, and he's... Oh! No, sorry, that was Grace. Has Grace got a problem? Oh, no, I think that was just a connection thing. So,
yeah, it's a connection thing. I'm on board with him, and it looks like you're about to fly into the wall, and then he just reappears back on the track, so don't know what connection he has. He needs to improve it.
Senio is continuing to stroke along in the 99 Porsche, 4.6 seconds clear over Will Freeman in second position. They've got Damien van der Waal in third place, and Kleiber doing a superlative job in the number 3 Audi, keeping his car out of trouble so far as we speak. Ben Milden's in 8th place now in the number 111 Audi. He didn't qualify that highly. He was very much in the firm midfield. I think it was around about 16th place or something like that on the grid, and he's making steady progress through the field.
I'm just catching the battle for 15th, 16th and 17th. Hutchinson seems to have made another error. If you remember, he was the one who was... to kind of illustrate my point about, always stay in the game, as we see the 213 has just gone off. Who's that? 713.
Yeah, so the 713, that will be Steve Caruana, who's had it off. He's definitely damaged the car. I can tell by the dent on the windscreen there for the Ferrari driver as he's coming down the Conrad straight. Yeah, he's got quite a bit of damage actually to the bonnet, so that'll be him into the pit lane at the end of this lap.
Just to illustrate my point, so Hutchinson's 15th, and remember, he was he was stationary. He was parked, you know, at the chaos of lap one. He was parked there for a good 10, 15 seconds, and he's up to 15th. He's still got a lap to do, and obviously there's people ahead of him that have already done a stop, but kind of illustrates my point that you can still get up, you know, fair, just by, I guess, keeping it clean afterwards, as someone like Chris Gedman is proving at the moment.
Contact made between Leher and Pavisel going through Quarry Bend there, and it very nearly ended in tears, but thankfully it was only a little scrape between the pair of them. But Leher did get through on Pavisel, who almost let him through rather easily, and I think it became a bit of a confusing sight there for Leher as he got past. Hutchison nearly putting the car in the wall as well. He needs to try and keep it clean if he can. If he knows he can't keep hold of the position, at least don't go off or put it in the wall.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of following through here. I guess if you're not in, I think, did Grace get past Novak there? I think he did, yeah. So Grace is up into 5th. He must have got him down the Conrad Straight there.
To know how drivers.
Oh, Popsicle's just hit the wall at the mountain. Oh, he's destroyed his car completely. And hopefully the drivers coming across that wreckage have just avoided him.
Yeah. No, he's put it in the wall big time as Pavisel. He's trying to get that car back to the pit lane. It will be quicker for him to do that than it will be via returning to the game, because otherwise you'll be starting the lap again. And so it's your Pavisel, you want to try and get that car back to the pits, and I think he's going to struggle to do it from there, but given how slow he's having to go through the corners.
Yeah, and to be fair, he's doing the right thing by just getting out of people's way, and just you know, it'll be too easy to just, you know, prioritize and think I just need to get back to the pits, but to be fair to him, he's getting out of people's ways, which, you know, same can be said for the Swap Series event. So he's definitely getting out of people's way, which is good to see. But oh my god, that is a damaged car. We're seeing quite a few damaged cars tonight.
Yeah, and it's no surprise to me, in all honesty. It was a good first couple of corners on the opening lap, and then it all began to kick off at the third bend, or third braking zone. So they all went through, and that was the end of the road for the likes of Melvin Crows and Schaefer as well, who hasn't returned to the circuit. Neither has Peter van Lyshout. Bruno Canavera still hasn't rejoined the circuit. I think his race could well all be over. So we've got 4 drivers out of the race so far: Canavera, van Lyshout, Schaefer and Crows.
Yeah, what a shame. It's Canavera and Schaefer who are the top 5, as Hutchison's just hit the wall, and Brinkov is through into 15th. He just hit a small tap of the wall there, and up and elevated his position. So well done to Brinkov getting there past him.
Or 15th position that was, but Hutchison is very much out of shape. His momentum's been dented after that tap with the wall, and now he's trying to get back into a rhythm again.
And it looks like Chris Gedman's under a bit of pressure here from Mahuka. There's a much better way of pronouncing your name, apologies, but he's had a pit stop, so he should be probably a little bit faster at this stage, and in fact he's flashing Gedman. I don't think that's going to work on him. I don't think he should be flashing the admin of the oh no, Chris is actually letting him through. That is surprising.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's never something I want to do. Oh, there's an off there for the 713 as well. Who's that's gone into the wall? It's the 713. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, that's
the second. Yeah, that's the second time he's gone off, and he's hit the wall big time there after being in the pits. And I would say that's probably the end of the road for him, unless he decides to spin the car back round. To do this safely, there is the race leader's coming round as well, so he will not want to rejoin it into the path of him.
Oh, please be careful.
Yeah, the leaders are going to be coming through, so I think Corana's got to be really, really careful as he comes back onto the racetrack. There's too many cars that he's going to need to stay out of the way from. Arsenio gets through safe and sound, but I'm just conscious as to how Corana's playing this one. And yeah, he's going to be getting through the corners okay. I think he's just had a bit of a dent, and he's not really established how the car is handling with the damage.
Sean Coole's just gotten ahead of Hutchison there, so he's improved back up into 16th. Sean Coole being the championship winner from a couple of seasons ago, making his way back up the field with he's pitted, obviously he pitted quite early, didn't he? So Interesting. And then, yeah, Hutchinson's got Leha behind him, I think. Yep. Going over the mountain. Oh, lads, be patient here.
Yeah, and there's two cars behind, battling for position. They are Prentice and Eldori, who are fighting over 19th position. Now Leha, can he get through on Hutchinson on this lap? Oh, he nearly drops it though, and he's had a tap with the wall. Gets away with it. I don't know if the turbulent air of the BMW ahead had put him off, but that could have been curtains for Leha's on the spot.
Yeah, is that Prentice behind? No, Prentice is ages away. That must be...
And that must be a lapped car. I think it's a lapped car that... yeah, it's that is Spike who is there, and in front of him, recognise who it is, it's actually Faster, who's actually a lap down on Spike. So they're actually in a different races really, as Leha looks to try and get through on Hutchison for 17th position, but he'll have to wait a little bit longer. I think that's up in the wall.
Godfrey's in the wall again. Oh, and he's returned to pits. Godfrey was in the wall, and he's just returned back to the pits. He absolutely clambered the wall there in the mountain, and he's retired. What a race to forget for him.
Yeah, and it's probably his first retirement as well in the Tier 1 category of Taco Tuesday. So, bad start to the season for Godfrey. He is another one to go. Pabizzle did make it back to the pit lane, but not 100% sure whether he will actually rejoin the circuit. I think Caruana, just looking to see where he is, I think he's gone back to the pits via returning to garage, so I think that's his race over too.
Yep, and Novak's just come into the pit in the Honda, so he's pitted. It's quite a strange pit, actually. That's kind of, you're in a bit of a no man's land pit. You're not halfway through the race. You're about 25 minutes into the race, so yeah, not even a third way through. So I wonder what his strategy is. Maybe he's just spotted a gap and decided to pit, or maybe he got a little bit of damage. Will Friedman must have made a mistake somewhere, because Van der Waal is now just 0.6 behind him, and the Arsenio to Will Friedman gap is now over 8 seconds, so there's definitely been a mistake done there.
Line they come, completing lap 12. Freeman is just under a second ahead of Van der Waal in the fight for second place. Caruana's rejoined the race in front of him, so he's got to watch his mirrors as they come up through the straight there. I'm trying to remember what the name of the straight, actually. I know the Conrad straight, the back one, as they go through set 3. It's Mountain Straight, that's what I was looking to. Griffin's Bend is the name of the second corner, not Quarry Bend. Quarry Corner is further round the lap after the cut-in, so I do apologise for that. And seeing the second and third place drivers coming through, Freeman and Van der Waal in second and third places. Clobera fourth, with Grace in 5th position. He's carrying a little bit of a scrape on the front of his car, but it's not major by any means. When is Arsenio going to pit in then?
Well, I'm just thinking that because I'm looking at Nico, and Nico's obviously made his stop, and he's just on the newly named Mountain Straight. And Arsenio is going for the mountain now, so I reckon that's a good 30-40 seconds away. So I think Nico might be... Very curious to see where Arsenio... It depends how much fuel Arsenio is putting in here, because I think Nico obviously would have... He wouldn't... It depends how much he put in whenever he stopped. But yeah, that's one to look out for, to see where Nico comes out once everybody pits. But I'd imagine, following logic, that they should be all coming in about 45 minutes. But it really depends. So you got about 2 stops, so you probably... The way I play it is that I'd probably be pitting at like maybe 50 minutes to go, and then pit again with about 10 minutes to go. Yeah, you want to change tires at this stop, because you do not want to be driving around with worn tires on the mountain.
Definitely not, and the last thing you want is a huge accident. There's an off in the second corner of the lights, the 320. That is Leha, who's had a shunt. I don't know if he's come together with someone, but he's picked up quite a bit of damage to his car by the looks of it.
Oh, Prentice is round. He caught it, but he was just round the corner there at the elbow. Just as Connor Byers and everybody's coming through. And they're going to go side by side for the mountain entrance. And Novak just about scrapes the wall. Where's Connor? He's just behind him. And Aldori's behind him as well, flashing his lights. But these guys are all on... They've all pitted. Oh. So they really need to stop messing about here.
Oh, there's an accident! Big accident! Leia kick-started it, and it looks like... I'm just trying to see who that was that's been in the wars there. And... Oh, that's a terrible... It's the 69 also. Diabella was also in there, and I couldn't quite tell who else also got involved, but it's ended in tears for the lot of them.
That's Sousa, I think. Sousa got involved because he's
Yeah,
returned to
Sousa
pits
got involved
there
as
too.
well. Innocent Bison of those two, but it was Leha that kick-started the shunt, and then Sousa and Diabell just were innocent passengers, so they are pretty much out of it now, those two.
I mean, at this rate, if you finish the race, you're going to get a point. So it's worthwhile, even if you have an off, is continuing going if you want to get your points. There's so many retirements and so many people going off here.
Well, Farclopper Pistol and Steve Corona are still in the race. Jeffrey Godefroy is
Oh,
not.
someone's gone onto the wall at Forest Elbow. Sorry, it's the
Caruana.
713. Yeah, he just went off straight in front of Kloiber there. He did well not to avoid him.
Yeah, that was a dangerous spot there for him to be stopping. Got going again now, and he'll be back in the pits for sure, Caruana. And I think he may decide to just call it a day, unless he discreetly chooses to keep going just to get a point out of this. But yeah, I think given the standards of his driving so far, it's not particularly great.
No, it's always a bit risky having Bathurst as your first race of the season. Slightly better than having Monza as the first race, but yeah, it's quite a challenge for all these drivers getting used to their new cars this season. As we've got a battle here, Van der Waal and Will Friedman, they're now really close together, and Van der Waal with the McLaren on the Lamborghini. I don't know how the Lamborghini's straight line speed is doing, but it looks like Van der Waal's shaping up for a move at some point here.
Through Griffin's Bend, Freeman not able to, well, Freeman's able to keep hold of it, rise the curve quite heavily. Is Freeman needs to be careful going through there. Ivanov in the pits for his first of 2 mandatory pit stops, so he's taking the opportunity. Oh, Freeman's run wide, and that opens the door for Van der Waal to go through, up into second place. So Van der Waal's persistence has paid off. Freeman, I don't know if he actually tapped the wall, but it was still enough for Van der Waal to take advantage.
All that was just he was just getting off the off camber there. That is, it's a mistake we've all done before, and poor Will, but he can get back to him. But well done to Van der Waal, and what can he do with his pace now in the McLaren?
Van der Waal has got 10 seconds to make up on Arsenio in the battle for the lead, so it'll be a matter of
time.
Oh,
Grace! Oh no, sorry, it was his connection. Sorry, it's just he's the car. He keeps teleporting a little bit. I'll ignore. I'm not going to go on board with Grace anymore. Sorry.
One driver we'll discuss is Luke Prentice, because he was the one that didn't set a time in qualifying, and he's up in 8th position despite not pitting so far, but he's had a very decent race from the back of the grid.
Yep, indeed, and I called it. I mean, as I said, it wouldn't be my choice, but it's paid off for him, to be fair to him. He's not involved in any accidents, so he just kept going. I'm still looking at Nico, because Nico's coming up on Luke. Well, I mean, 5 seconds away, but what's Nico's pace? I mean, I wish I could see lap times in this in spectator mode here, so I can see what kind of lap times he's doing versus Arsenio. But I'm keeping my eye on him, seeing what he's going to do.
Himself in the 95 yellow livery Porsche is coming up behind. I think that's Jeffrey Godefroy, who has rejoined the race, albeit a long way back, a number of laps behind. I think it's about 5 laps behind he's Godefroy. Yeah. But he's just thinking, you know what, if I can just get to the end of the race, I'm going to get points anyway.
Look down to Jack Prentice and Jake and Novak and Ivanov. The 3 of them going through the mountain nose to tail. They're going to keep it clean here.
Tell you, Caruana has actually rejoined the race after that pit stop he's had to do. That's his 3rd stop of the race, and we are watching Ben Molden, who's in 6th position ahead of Will Rayner, who's another of those to avoid any mayhem so far. Hoping to get that way right to the very end. Chris Gedman is coming in for his first stop of 2 from 12th place. The highest driver in the field that has stopped so far is Nico Busov in 9th position.
Looking at going back to this battle here, Prentice and Novak. Oh, Novak really just almost tried to overtake and going into the end of the straight there. Novak's calling a prowl for Prentice. Is he gonna go for a dive? He's gonna half dive down the inside.
That's too ambitious, and that's always just going to end in tears. Far too ambitious there from Dennis Novak, punting Jack Prentice off the road, and that'll be a penalty coming his way later for sure.
100%. Ambition over adhesion, as the famous Martin Brundle would say. I think he said that. But yeah, that's really, really over-ambitious. Just dive bombed. It was quite clear he was just getting really frustrated, and he's only got himself to blame now, I'm afraid. And per Prentice, he was doing pretty well up there with the pit stop, so keep your head down and keep going.
Trying to get through on Aldori at Griffin's Bend. We'll ride on board with Novak to see how he gets on. He'll be a little bit, a little bit affected by punting Jack Prentice off the road the way he did that. And now he's got to try and make up for it by getting through on Aldori, of which he lost a position to him as the result of the contact.
Yeah, he's going to have to be very careful. I mean, again, I don't know what the Honda's like to drive, but I'm sure it's not that bad on the brakes.
Very close to the wall these drivers are going. Novak running a little wide as well. The sun is poking through at the moment. I don't know if that's going to put a few of the drivers off as they come through the dipper and down these undulating parts of the racetrack. As they come towards Forest Elbow now are Novak and Aldori. Novak will be desperate to get a good exit. Oh no, it's Conor Byers who's trying to get through. My apologies, not Aldori who's trying to get through. Aldori is actually behind him. So this is a battle for 13th position between Byers and Novak. They are on the Conrod Straight. What is Novak going to do here as he looks to make a move into the chase? He won't do it there, will he? Well, he's going for it. Byers generously allowing him so much space, and Novak is through and up into 13th place.
He's clearly not deterred from the dive bomb then. I think the stewards need to go and teach him a bit of a lesson on the art of dive bombing. But yeah, Conor Byers, as you said, was very, very respectful there. Maybe he saw the incident in his rearview mirror, or maybe came past the incident and decided, I'm going to give him a wide berth.
Drivers the drivers who have not rejoined in this race so far. Canavera is out, Leher is in the pit still, Van Leishout is out, Schaefer is out, and Kroos is out. The drivers that we thought we were going to lose, Sousa, Dybel are still going, Corona is still going, Provisil is still going, Godefroy is still going. So hopefully in due course we'll see those who are still not competing fall to the bottom of the leaderboard.
Grace has come into the pits, so for his stop, so that's around about the time I would stop if I was doing my strategy. So let's see how much fuel. I imagine he's probably going to fuel up to probably 10 minutes to go. So new set of tyres and see what he does. Maybe he's trying to do the undercut and Kleiber, actually, which is actually fair enough, actually, given how hard it is to overtake on this track.
So
round. Surely Kleiber will react here with a pit stop.
Busov is coming through. He's going to be ahead of Grace by quite some way. So that's him through and out of the way. The next one ahead of Busov is Luke Prentice, who's another 4 seconds up the road. So what is Busov going to achieve out of this? Can he maybe also get in front of Arsenio or probably Van der Waal for second place?
It's very possible. That's what we're looking for, is seeing what he can do here. Shout out to Ben Milden's the 5th, but I'm quite surprised he didn't do the alternative strategy. This is the rare occasion where Ben is following the herd and doing the normal strategy. It's not very Ben at all.
A super job so far, keeping his car away from the walls, despite maybe a few drifts along the way, but nothing major. And he's through the dipper and heading towards Forest Elbow. Further behind, Maholka has lost a position. Has he been in the walls, Maholka? I don't think he has, but Busov is closing in on Prentice. Ahead of Busov on track is Chris Gedman, who's just pitted and he's a lap behind.
I'm quite surprised that Maholka is he's in 9th.
So there was a yellow flag. It was the number 43 of Luke Prentice. I think got away with it, but that very nearly could have been the end of it. Sorry, resume.
No, I was just saying, Maholka is ahead of Grace. So Maholka is looking at what, a net? Oh, what are the net positions here? Net 3rd? 4th? Maybe 4th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I,
It'll
I
be
would,
interesting once all these strategies shake out, I have to say. It'll be interesting to see where everybody comes out.
Luke Prentice is coming into the pits now in the number 43 Lamborghini. How long this pit stop is going to take. Will Rayner also in. That's going to promote Nico Busov up the order a couple of positions. To lap Chris Gedman around about a corner's time. Gedman will have to adhere to the blue flag. I think is it 1.5 seconds or something like that if a driver ahead of you on track is trying to lap you. Is it 1.5 seconds the window or something like that, or is it half a second?
It's a second.
It's a second, okay. Well, Gedman is adhering to the blue flags, and Busov goes through no problem. I'd be a total surprise if Gedman didn't follow the rules there, since he's one of the admins. As Busov is through up into 6th position, by, well, not by lapping Gedman, but by getting ahead of Rayner and Prentice in the process, and he can set about closing down on Ben Milden, who's another 21 seconds up front.
Yep, I would say Nico is probably looking at least a third place here, if not second. I would say probably the gap to Arsenio might be a bit too large, but it just depends whether Arsenio, if he nails his pit stop or not. But it's going to be really interesting to see where he shakes out. Arsenio goes around for another tour. I mean, unless they were carrying obscene amounts of fuel, they should all be starting to come into the pits quite soon. The max you really want to carry fuel in these cars is about an hour. Anything after that, you're just a boat. And this is the last place you want to be a boat on. So they should be coming into the pits quite soon.
Sean Cole is in for his second stop already. So that's gone out the way for him.
So that's interesting. That's interesting. He's come and done his stop. So he's down in 16th place. So 17th actually. So he's looking at quite a big leap once all the guys in front of him pit as well. And he's got pretty much a clear track, really. You've got Will Friedman in front of him, obviously a lap down. So he could gain to stand quite a lot here as well. So it will all shake out in the pits here. It's just a matter of who's going to blink first in the top 3 here.
Sonya's got a cushion. He won't need to worry about cars behind. He can even just wait until the closing stages of the race if he wanted to make those 2 pit stops.
He is coming up to quite a lot of traffic here, though. So yeah, in front of him he's got the 28. Is that the 2? 20? Yeah, the 28 of Jeroen and Prentice and Sharp and Aldori who are fighting here, going into the to the end of the straight. So depends how kind they're going to be for him. I imagine when the race leader comes through and you get a blue flag, you're sort of obligated to get out of the way.
It's one driver you don't hold up, it's the leader. We have seen incidents in the past where back markers can become an obstacle to the leaders, and much to the leaders' frustration, you know, they sort of gesture to them saying, "What on earth are you doing? Hold me up, get out of the way," that type of thing.
Yeah.
We're looking at Adam Sharp getting through an Ahmed Al-Dori up to 14th position.
Van der Waals pitting.
Van der Waal pitting in from 2nd place. The first of 2 for him, with 49 minutes left on the clock. So he's done well by taking the tyres as far as he has done. How quick of a pit stop are we expecting here?
And the question is, for me, is Nico, where will he come? So he's obviously stopped now. So assuming about a 30-second stop here, at least.
Busov is coming up behind Popizzle to lap, so hopefully he won't become too much of an issue. I would say that Busov will be in front of Van der Waal, given the pace that Busov has done on the new tyres. Never know.
And Nico's just, got past the back marker easily enough. And Van der Waal still hasn't got going, so yeah, Nico's got this. Nico's got at least 3rd place here.
Still in his box as we speak. Busov gets through. Maholka don't think will get through. Van der Waal's done his stop now. He's left his box, and so he should rejoin ahead of Maholka. Straight comes Maholka, who's got Morgan Grace right behind him as we speak, but Van der Waal is out in front of the pair of them. the position to Busov by staying out too long.
Yeah, let's see how this shakes out. So the gaps are quite large, but they will obviously come down. Arsenio is definitely he's coming across this battle here. He's really going to have to watch out. I think he's going to catch these guys at a really bad time. If I was him, I'd pit now. I'd pit now to avoid this. Actually, as Prentice comes into the pits anyway, so maybe that's less urgent.
So he's gone through, he's not even thinking about it. He's got a bit of ground to make up on the next set of back markers. 14th and 15th place drivers, they are Adam Sharp and Ahmed Aldori. Sonio is 12 seconds clear of Will Freeman, who's in P2. But as it stands, it looks like Busov is going to well go into second position. And thinking of it, if Busov can continue the pace he's setting, well be close between him and Arsenio. I still think Arsenio will be out in front, but not by much.
Grace and Mahoka are fighting here over the mountain. So Grace, if he really needs to get ahead on and pass Mahoka here as quickly as possible, in order for him to make up ground here on Van der Waal and Busov here way up the road, actually, comparatively. But I think Grace might be in a battle here with the likes of Ben, so he needs to get past Mahoka now.
It's about to do that on the mountain straight, or the Conrod straight, I should say. And it's a overtake nicely done from Grace.
You need to be so careful over that curb. You're seeing memes on the internet of people going flying over that curb and just absolutely plebbing it. So I'm just looking at Arsenio. He's just trying to get past traffic now, and they're not getting out of his way very easily. I have to say, the AMG. Who's at the number 15 there?
So that'll be Ahmed Aldori, who is almost holding the leader up there as they come onto the straight. He is out of the way now. I think Arsenio wished he got out of the way sooner. Busov, is he in any traffic as we speak? And the answer is no. And he's making the most of the clear track in front of him. The gap he is behind Arsenio, looking at where the gaps are. Something like, just trying to work it out. It's around about 50 seconds as Arsenio comes in.
Right, so this is interesting. How long will his stop be? So he's just stopped now. So bang on halfway through the race.
Take over the lead. Kleiboer is also heading for the pits. Milden in 4th position. He's still yet to make a pit stop. What's that? You know. What about Busov? What's he looking to do?
This might be close.
I think it will be.
Might be close, yeah. Oh, he's getting going now. Arsenio's going now.
His boxes earlier on in the pit lane. Oh, he's got such a long way down the pit lane. I think Busov's going to be in front of him, you know, unless he's coming into the pits. He is. He's in the pits, is Busov, for his last stop.
Ah, Nico, he robbed us at that moment.
Yeah. Well, at least it gives Arsenio a little bit of breathing space, but there's no question that Busov would have been in front of Arsenio had he stayed out. But I suppose, had he done that, he would have been in traffic.
Yep, so Nico's done an early pit, so he's getting this out of the way, so he'll just go almost like a 60-minute race almost, just slightly over that amount of fuel, so unless... So Arsenio is quite clearly going for... He's going to go for a splash and dash at the end here. Whereas Nico's obviously already done a splash and dash. So Nico's still got... He's got some time to make up here, actually.
Going to be moving up the order as well. Busov has done his stop behind Ivanov, and he's going to be behind Novak too.
Possibly Will as well.
It's behind Will.
Possibly, yeah.
Aldori's in the pits.
Nico needs to just get past. Needs to get past these guys like quite quickly. Just do purple laps now for the rest of the race, because he's going to know that Arsenio is got to do a splash and dash at the end as Will Freeman comes into the pits now.
Arsenio is still going on right now. I wonder how quick Will Freeman's stop is going to be. Can he get out in front of Damien van der Waal, go back into second position? Arsenio coming through. Chase. And then this corner being the last turn of this circuit of Mount Panorama.
Who's the 911 that's just gone off there? 911. Oh, that's Ferrara. Okay, fair enough.
Ferrara, who's had a race to forget so far, languishing
Moving
at
on.
the back. Arsenio coming through to take back the lead of the race. Freeman has left his box, and he's going to get out, I think, in front of Damien van der Waal.
I think he is, actually, yep.
Got the number 5 off, though. Will Rayner has been in the wall. So a good race from Will has ended up being in the barrier. He's trying to find a moment to rejoin again, but he's done horrific damage to the bonnet. Oh, he's handling poor. He's handling so poor, he can't even get the car straight. He's back in the pits, is Will.
Yeah.
Unless he
actually... And this can happen to anybody. It can happen to absolutely anybody in this race. Never say never.
Milden is in for his last stop now. At the same time, Rayner has gone into the pit lane. Lose time as a result.
So Ben's done that was a very quick pit stop from Ben. So he's done a splash and dash, actually. Well, is that a splash and dash? How long was he stationary for?
On how much fuel you're putting in. If you're just changing tyres, it can take something like 10 seconds to do.
Who's that behind him?
He's behind Ivanov, he's behind Novak, he's Busov. Yep.
Who's that? The 28 that's behind him. I'm presuming that's Jorian. Okay, yeah, that's Jorian. Yep. Okay.
Lap 24 of this race in Mount Panorama in Bathurst, the first race of Taco Tuesday in the Pro category. Mauro Senor is making it look so easy so far, but never discount Nico Busov by any means as he continues to try and make an undercut and get in front of Arsenio for the race lead. He's not in traffic at the moment, unlike Arsenio is, so that could give Busov a little bit of encouragement.
Yeah, I'm just trying to compare the gaps before the pit stops. Will Freeman had a 10-second gap to Arsenio, and it's just like below, so that's kind of held quite stationary. I think Van der Waals kind of... actually, no, that's not correct. Van der Waal has really lost out, actually, in the pits, because if you remember, he was right on Will Freeman's tail. I mean, in fact, they were both... they were kind of battling, wasn't it? So Van der Waals had, like, a really poor stop. Or he's put in a lot more fuel. So he's definitely missed out, as Mahoka and Prentice are pitting as well.
Busov is in 10th place on track with to see Ivanov, Maholka and Prentice in the pits. Busov continues on his way. About those. So he'll be setting his sights on Denis Novak for P6.
So there's a lot of drivers kind of slightly out of position here, so the top 5 still haven't pitted yet, so they still all have to do their own pits. So still plenty of pit lane action to come. Probably going to pit on 10 minutes to go, I would say, if they're, or I actually can't remember. The pit window closes right a minute before, so you want to kind of, if you want to sort of maximize that time, you need to do it as kind of close to that as possible, but depends how risky you're going to be.
So he's pushing as hard as he can through the second sector of the lap. 9.3 seconds is the margin between Arsenio in the lead and Freeman in second. And it's Van der Waal and Grace in third and fourth places respectively. Kleiboer, Novak, who have still yet to make their last trip to the pits. Their last trips to the pit lane. Busov and Milden can both go to the end. I think Milden, you have to say, could well be in the fight for a podium.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely. I think the fight for the podium is definitely on. It just all depends really when these top 6 pit and how much they're going to put in really. With such a short pit lane, so yeah, we're going to be gassing right till the end here. I think Arsenio, unless he makes any mistakes, I think he might have the race wrapped up, but that's a big if he makes any mistakes.
Down the order, Chris Gedman is running in 20th position and has completed all of his stops. Will Rayner has yet to rejoin the race, but he's shown in 22nd. Dybel, Sousa's back in the pits now as well. It looks like he's not going to be continuing. Corana's back in the pits, he's not continuing. Lay has retired, as is Canavera, as is Van Lyshow, as is Schaefer, as has Crows, and one other driver, of which I can't recall. I can't remember who it was that we also lost. That's not in the server at the moment. We'll find out as the race finishes anyway. There are less than 30 drivers left in the race. Mauro Senior leads by 9.5 seconds on that 26th.
Yeah, but just being sent the video of Melvin Cruz at the start, and it has to be said, it was just a massive pileup. There's literally nothing he could do. I suspect that was the same for a few other drivers. I can't see who did it or how it started off, but yeah, there's nothing like a lot of those drivers could have done. But that is the nature of Bathurst on turn 1. It has to be said.
Aiming for a podium. It's a long time since he's finished on the podium in Taco Tuesday. Thunderwell, it's also a long time since he's been on the podium as well.
Fair play to Godfrey. I think fair play to him still going. I know he's had an absolute nightmare of a race and he still has to make a stop, but yeah, I mean, fair play to him. I think I probably would have been one of those people retiring if I was in his position, so I know what it's like to continue to have a really bad lap 1, 2 or 3 and then move back to and then have to keep driving, so fair play to him. He'll bounce back. He's a very fast driver.
He's coming up behind Farclub and Bizzle, and this is actually for a genuine battle for position between over 47 seconds behind Brinkoff, who has been in pits, or is in the pits. Just let's see where they will be. So he won't get in front of Brinkoff. I highly doubt it that he will. Dybel, who's another 28 seconds behind, he's the highest of those still running, or the lowest driver in the field still running. Will Rayner has yet to rejoin the race after that shunt. It's huge shame for him because he was on course for certainly a top 10 finish in this one, and he threw it away.
I am just looking at a couple of driver streams just to see their fuel, but I think it would probably be unfair of me to call out their fuel amounts for. I know some drivers do. They do listen to the stream while they're watching, and hello everyone if you are. But I will not call out other people's strategy. But let's just say there's some different fuel levels going on here. That's for sure. So I think we'll keep an eye out. Trying to find Arsenio's stream, but not that clever to find that. But yeah, I think it's all going to come down to, I mean, like, it's interesting that Van der Waal is not making any kind of remarks into Will at this stage. Perhaps he might be carrying just a little bit more fuel. But given that, if you remember in the stint before, Van der Waal was really closing up on him, I think, and overtook him as well, and I think if I'm correct. And yeah, just quite surprising. He's just kind of staying stationary. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to figure out what is the highest that Nico could go here. Like, I'm just assuming that everybody's going to probably do a splash and dash in front of him, which still takes, you're still talking about a 20-25 second pit loss, even if you do that, probably even a little bit more, maybe 30 seconds. So he's still got some time to make up here.
Sonia, how hard he is pushing through these corners. He knows that this race is not done yet. Bousov is less than 5 seconds behind Novak. He's making his way through back markers at the moment. He's just lapped Stuart Hutchinson, who's still got one more stop to make in this race. So yeah, I think you're right, Craig, because these drivers are going to wait until the last 10 minutes of the race to perhaps get their last pit stops done, but we are still approaching the last third of the race anyway.
Yeah. And that's right. I think at this stage for all the drivers, it's just about keeping it on track, because they've been driving now for an hour, which is just slightly over. We're starting to get to Taco Tuesday finishing time, really. They're going to come across, it's a bit like an endurance race where you're starting to come across back markers. You're starting to feel a little bit fatigued. I know what it's like at this time during a race, and it's at somewhere like Bathurst, you just think it's just so easy just to drop it in the wall or come across an incident yourself, or anything can happen. So it's just about keeping it as tidy and on the tarmac as much as possible, while also still obviously driving really fast lap times at the same time. It's really hard. So full respect to the top 5 actually for what they've done, because I would say the top 7 actually, really, like, nobody's really made a mistake apart from Novak, obviously. He's definitely due a penalty at some point in this race afterwards. So yeah, it's just such a hard. Oh, I think Friedman's made a mistake. Will's gone really slowly. Oh, I think he just probably made the same mistake as he did whenever Van der Waal went past him. Do you remember at the elbow? I think it's the elbow. That turn there.
The cutting.
Yeah, the cutting. Yeah, I think he just got off camber there. But that's given Van der Waal a slight lifeline, actually.
Just looking to see what the gap is actually now, because the sector which he'd gone through was before he'll have run wide. So we'll see what the sector times are when he goes through. I mean, the gap won't have come down that much, in all honesty.
It wasn't wasn't the biggest error in the world, but I just jumped on board with him. He's going very slowly, and obviously just caught him right at the moment he was out making the error. So yeah, you probably lose maybe a second, probably at that at most.
Senyo will know that this race is not sewn up by any stretch of the imagination. Will Rayner looking to see where he is at the moment? Has he rejoined the race yet, or is he still in the pits? He's still in the pits at the moment. So the lowest driver who's still running is Baz Brinkoff in 27th, but it will move up into 26th in due course. So I believe, to my understanding, we've got 26 out of the 35 that started still running, and we've got half an hour remaining here in Bathurst.
Yeah, I'm just jumping on board with Will Friedman's stream and just seeing what he did there at that corner. He just went in. Not too bad, actually. It wasn't not too bad a mistake. But yeah, it did cost him a little bit of time. Yeah, a second. So not the worst incident that you can have around Bathurst, I have to say. Not the worst. What I'm surprised at, I'm just surprised Nico has not made that much dent into Novak's time. They're both doing they must be just trading lap times at the moment, so unless Novak is also going very quickly, it's been quite hard to tell. But Nico probably needs to pick up the pace just a little bit more if he wants to kind of make any sort of impression on the top 3. I imagine he's probably gunning for a podium at this moment in time.
So he's chasing Novak for 6th position on track. He knows he doesn't need to be fighting with Novak, but if he does end up getting held up by him, then he may well need to get past him. So he's just got to hope maybe that Novak doesn't actually make a mistake.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what the gap was with Novak and Kleiber. It's obviously quite a large gap. They're quite different. Must be different fuel levels. Grace just go through some lap traffic there. They're all kind of coming across traffic, which is quite difficult. And who's that just gone straight across the straight? The 237 of Sharp has just absolutely clattered the wall again. Again.
Yeah, he's clattered the wall big time as Sharp, and he's making his way back to the pits. I think Will Rayner's back in the pits as well. And it looks like his day is all but done. So that's another driver gone from this one. Adam Sharp, who's done all his pit stops, his mandatory stops, well, he's going to have to make another trip to the pits to get the repair work done.
Oh, be careful going over that. He's lucky there's nobody around him at the moment. Got the 987 about to come past him, and yeah, that should be fine. Okay, he's off the track. That's good. Never like to see somebody go across the track like that, but yeah, at least he's. So Nico's got the gap down just a little bit to 4.6, so he's starting to make a little bit of headway into it. But again, I just think you still need to go a little bit quicker.
Arsenio doing everything right so far in this race, but it takes just one mistake for the whole complexion of this race to turn on its head. Doesn't need to be pushing too hard at this stage, does Arsenio? Just needs to keep it out the wall and think about when he's going to pit in for the second time. It's been an interesting race so far this evening in Tuesday in the Pro category. The opening race of season 11 in the FRL. Arsenio's doing his best. He's got a 13-second margin over Will Freeman. Got ahead of Van der Waal in the pit stops. Stop in the second round before the checker flag.
I'm just looking at the field spread. I'm just looking at the different manufacturers here, and Arsenio is on a league of his own here in the Porsche. He just, you know, when you look down on the list, and the next one is Sean Cole in 12th. That's always a satisfying feeling, I think, whenever you're in a, you know, whenever you're in your own sort of manufacturer and it's always satisfying being the top, you know, top driver of that manufacturer. You know, I took some pleasure when being like the top Mercedes driver or the top Ferrari driver, but for Arsenio to be leading this race by quite this margin in a Porsche, and the next one is down in 12th, that's extra satisfaction. So he's found a groove, for sure. And I mean, if he wins this race, just looking at the calendar, the next race is Laguna Seca, which is got Porsche written all over it. You know, there's basically no straights in that race, and that's all about just yeah, all the things that the Porsche is good at, which is just being agile and you know, having good acceleration out of the corners and all that sort of thing. So, and given how consistently he's driving at the moment, I wouldn't put it past him winning the next race as well. So fair play to Arsenio, fair play so far, but as you say, can all come undone.
Done indeed. Brinkoff is in 26th position. He's actually nearly a full lap ahead of Sousa, who's trying to catch him. So I think for Sousa, who's just rejoined the race, he's he's got quite a lot of ground to make up, so he's going to have to hope for more misfortune of others to move up any more places. And Sharp has been in the pits for a long time with the damage he has had. Druin is in the pits for his last mandatory stop now as well.
It looks like Nico's starting to close up the gap now here on Novak, so it's down to 3 seconds. So Nico's now, he's done playing around. Now he's going to start putting the pedal to the metal and start closing up this gap. He needs to make up quite a lot more time here. He's got probably about 15 seconds to 3 seconds to Novak, and then there's 15 seconds further there to Klober. So maybe he's looking at grace, but needed a bit more pace, I think, from Nico at this moment in time, but let's see where it shakes out.
So he's definitely making inroads on Novak ahead, and we'll see what the gap is in Sector 2 in 0.2 in Sector 1. What's the gap now in Sector 2? The answer is... oh, so Novak is responding a little bit.
Indeed, yeah. So they're definitely trading times. It just kind of depends. If is Novak, as he's closing in Kloiber, then that means they're both kind of pulling them in. Just gonna see what the historic times are. Oh, Novak's come into the pits.
So Novak is in the pits for his last stop. That releases Busov to go after Kleiboer, who of which is not too far up the road actually. But Busov will be ahead of him once the stops are over. It's just a matter of how high he'll end up. I think he will get in front of Will Freeman. Second place, it's just how close will it be to Arsenio?
Bold call. Let's see.
If you are watching us on the stream as well, we do welcome you. Do feel free to get involved in the live chat and answer any questions that you may have whilst we are on air. See, they've all tuned in. Reached 762 subscribers at the time of recording. Hopefully we can get a few more by the end of tonight. Already subscribed, do make sure you do that. There's also the other championships that the Formula Racing League has to offer, both on PC and on PlayStation. On the PlayStation side, there is obviously Taco Tuesday. There's the late night series on a Thursday. There's the sprint series on Sunday, which Craig mentioned earlier. There is a monthly endurance race. There's like a sprint endurance race every other week, apparently. For those into the F1 game cycle, they do 2 tiers on Tuesday, 1 tier on a Friday. There's the Realistic Racing League on the Saturday. There's 100% distance event also on the Saturday, and there's 2 Sunday tiers for that time of the week. So there's plenty of series to look forward to. If you are interested in getting involved, there is the Discord link and the Instagram account as well to follow. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you can keep right up to date with all the action within the FRL.
There's the Monza 12 hours, which is happening quite soon. That's on the... When's that? The 4th of November? When's that? The 4th of November, I think it is. I was going to go and be in that. No, it was on the 18th of November that was going to be on. So the 12 hours of Monza should be an interesting race. Not sure I could cope Monza for 12 hours, but some people apparently can. So...
One driver I'm going to give a mention to right now is Luke Prentice, who started at the back of the field. He's done all his stops. He's currently running in 9th place, catching Arkadiusz Michalka as they come towards Hell's Corner. And is where Luke could end up finishing by the end of this race.
Yeah, and he can absolutely take 8th, which would be an incredible job. As Michalka is coming up to a bit of traffic actually at this moment in time, so hopefully Luke can get past him. I believe Luke still races on a pad. I don't know if he's upgraded to a wheel yet. But I've done ACC on a pad and it's horrendous. I don't know how the hell he's doing it, but he's doing it somehow.
So it's not power sliding through the cut-in. Hardy is pushing, catching Arkadiusz Michalka, who's just over a second in front. And 2 is far from over. The top 5 are still yet to make their last pit stop. Morgan Grace is in from 4th position.
So I think we'll get a good idea about where Nico is how far he gets ahead of Grace. This is quite an early stop for Grace actually, so this isn't going to be the most splash and dash in the world. I can't imagine he's going to change tyres.
Is mandatory in these pit stops in Taco Tuesday. Grace will have hoped to have got them replaced by now. Busov is going to go in front of him, that's for certain. The question is, can he get out in front of Ben Milden, who has done his last stop? Grace has left the box now. Milden is coming around the last corner. It's going to be close between these two.
Oh, this is going to be close, you know.
It's going to be very, very close. I mean, Milden fancies this. Yeah, he's in front. He's ahead of Grace, is Milden.
Yep.
Yep, he's done him. Great job there from Ben Milden getting through ahead of Morgan Grace. And that'll be him up into 6th position. Still being the top 4 to make their last trips to the pits.
Fair play, and it looks like Prentice has gotten ahead of Michalka, I think. Is that? No, he's just gone past a back marker, actually. So he still remains within about just under a second for Michalka. And as you say, yeah, they've all done their pit stop, so this is they're genuinely fighting for. It looks like maybe a tops. Maybe they might stay actually where they are. Depends really whether how long the people in front actually stop for. But yeah, good showing from Luke actually. I thought like brilliantly.
P35 to P9. Still time yet for more come from him. Sean Cole is in 10th position as well. He's had a respectable race this evening in the 444 Porsche. Holker and Prentice making their way through McFillery Park, using all the curb and then some.
I'm just looking at his on board. I don't know if you can skip to his on board, but it's just when you're looking at his wheel, you can really tell him being on the controller because the wheel is just it's the most comedic thing I've ever seen. Just janky, but it must be working for him. He's fast and he's on the straight here. Lambo versus Lambo.
So clearly on same model as well, these two. You can tell by the air vents or the air ducts or whatever you want to call them on the bonnets. Are in pretty much identical machinery, these two. But Prentice is going up the inside of Maholka, and this should be a clean overtake. And he's done it.
Yeah, Maholka got a bit scared there and went off on the grass. But so that's another place up for Prentice, and it looks like Grace has gone off to the top of off to the back of Ben Milden, who's weaving down the straight. You're only allowed to do that once, sir.
Yeah, so Ben will just need to be very careful with that, the way he's moving across on the straight. Grace is all over the back of him. He'll be on fresher tyres than Ben, so this is a genuine fight to keep an eye out on. Cuts in. Ben should be able to keep hold of the position. Yeah, with the cuts in.
No, this is where it's hard. I think Grace is going to think, I have just pitted. I don't know if he's changed tyres. I mean, I think you said it was. I think you could have to do one mandatory tyre stop, but regardless, he'll have gone into the pit, changed his pressures a little bit. He'll be wanting this, and you just have to keep it calm over the mountain.
One driver is in the pits is Chris Gedman. He's made all his mandatory pit stops, so this is actually his third stop of the race. Not sure if he's encountered any issues. Maybe find out shortly after what's been going on with that. Adam Sharp has not rejoined the race, unfortunately, after that jump into the barrier. So it looks like his race is all but over. Sousa has returned to the pits as well. Will Rayner has 2. Brinkoff is the last of those still running in 25th, and he's still got one more mandatory pit stop to do.
I'll tell you what, Arsenio has been stuck behind. So it looked like he was lapping Connor Byers, and Connor went back through on the last corner, and now he's stuck behind him for the mountain. I'm really not sure what's going on there, what Arsenio is playing at. But like, he's surely slowing himself down by just it kind of looked like he sort of went off the racing line, let him through. But anyway, look at Grace. He's on the inside of Ben, and Grace has got 6th place.
But will Ben respond to that by getting into the slipstream? He went too deep into Hell's Corner, and it gave Grace the high ground to capitalise and go through. Luke Prentice is another 15 seconds behind these two. So it looks like 8th position could well be the best he's going to be achieving from this race. But if I was to give a driver of the day, mine would go to him.
Oh, Arsenio in the pits. Race leader in the pits.
Yeah, so Arsenio's in. This is important because Nico Busov, who has been trying to keep up with the pace, he's just going through. Whereabouts is Busov?
He's on the top of the mountain. He's just coming ages away.
Yeah, Arsenio is leaving this box now, and it's a very quick one from Arsenio. He will fall behind Freeman, Van der Waal, and it's just those two will fall behind. So it looks like Arsenio has got this race sewn up with 13 minutes remaining.
I mean, I say what I would say about that is that Will is obviously going on for a little bit longer, so he'll have less fuel to put in. I mean, it's not 10 seconds worth of less fuel, but Still, yeah, Nico's just coming up to the last corner now. So our predictions of him fighting for the win were wildly off early on, but no. I think, what can he get now? So he's 17 seconds behind Kleiber, so he almost definitely will get fourth. It's a question of whether he'll get Van der Waal.
It's going to be very close, I think, but I think fourth is most realistically where he's going to end up by the end of this race. Grace is pulling away from Milden now. Milden is not under threat from Prentice, because Prentice is some way behind him, but Milden won't want to back off too much in case that encourages Prentice to close in on him. It's worth noting how much fuel each of the drivers have got in. Gedman's rejoining 21st position. Brinkoff is in the pits for his last stop. Hopefully he'll return to the racetrack.
I think fair play to Chris Gedman for sticking in there. He's 3 laps down, but I mean, 21st is and ahead of a couple of drivers, including, I know Godefroy's had his incidents, but yeah, fair play. We haven't noticed him going off the track at any point. He's not thrown any major yellow flags, so fair play for keeping it on the black stuff.
Van der Waal
is in the pits. Yep.
Van der Waal is in for his last stop, so it's obvious that Arsenio will go back through ahead of him. And I'd like to think, there's a car off at turn 1, and it's the 987 of Spike. And I'm not sure what's happened there. He's gone through the gravel chat and the windscreen is horrifically damaged. And he's pulled off the track.
I have no idea what happened there. That's a very bizarre place to go off. Kleiber's pitted as well. So Nico will definitely get fourth. Van der Waal's coming out of the pit lane now. So podium might be a little bit too far away for Busov at this moment in time.
Yeah, he's too far away. He's too far away of his Busov, so I can imagine he'll be having to contend with fourth position, which he would have taken at the beginning. It's good points for the championship for later in the season. You never know how useful those could be.
So will Grace get ahead of Kleiber? So Kleiber's just coming out of the pit lane now, so that's going to be quite close. Yeah, Grace couldn't have done with that battle with Ben there.
He's on tyres that are in the optimum window, so you can use that to close in on Kleiber, but it's as good as it's going to get, really, as we're only in to the last 10 minutes of this race. On lap 39, it's coming up towards the end of this lap. He'll hand the lead back over to Arsenio. He's 99, he's only about 10 seconds off Will Freeman. Well, 6:17.
I'm just trying to think where he's going to come out. Actually, will Van der Waal get him? So Will does another tour.
Got some clear track ahead of him actually, as Freeman. He wants to make the most of it as best as possible. So I can't really blame him too much for that. But he won't want to give Van der Waal too much of an advantage of completing an undercut. Spike, who came into the pits, well I say he came into the pits, he did it by returning to the garage. Know how long he'll be there for, probably until the end of the race now, because it'll be some time before he'll be able to rejoin the circuit.
Van der Waal's falling a little bit behind Arsenio now, so that gap's kind of opening out. So there's a Will Friedman shaped gap there. I think this would be an incredible result for Will if he gets second place. He'd be dancing around his living room after this.
Stuart Hodgson, after completing his last stop as well, is rejoining 18th position, which is a respectable drive from Stuart. See if there's any other battles up and down the field. The closest we are seeing is between Aldori and Durin for 14th position. Both drivers are a lap down on the leader.
Yeah. So Will needs to come into the pits like either this or next lap, because it's a 2-minute lap. You don't want to risk it like halfway around your lap and then the pit window closing. That will undo all your work, Will. So he must be running on fumes, surely.
Desperate for a quick pit stop here. Will. End of this lap. No, he's going round again as well. I think he'll probably do. He's got a maximum, I would say, of 3 more tours before he does come in, because it's a 2-minute lap. So in 6 minutes' time, he'll actually enter the pit lane for the 1-minute mark. So I think as long as you do that, I think you'll be perfectly fine.
Indeed, I'm just watching Arsenio go through doing a 202.7, so no problem. He's cruising home and really cruising to like quite a large victory, actually. So again, fair play to Arsenio so far. I mean, I don't want to do commentator's curse, but he looks like he's got it sewn up, but we'll not call that just yet.
Will Freeman in the number 208 Lamborghini. Ahead of him on the road is the number 22. I'll say it's the number 20, so I think that's actually Stuart Hutchinson. I think they've got the numbers wrong.
Oh, Novak and Cole, 10th and 11th. They are right together there on the forest elbow, on the elbow there, and Novak's gonna get Cole down the straight.
Should do with the amount of slipstream he's going to have behind the Porsche, and I think there's going to be a change of position here as the home hero gets through on the Season 9 champion. Novak is through, is he? Well, they're going side by side. Cole's on the grass as they come towards the chase. Novak keeps his foot in there. They almost make contact coming out of the chase. This is brilliant racing. This is the kind of battle we've been after for some time. Goes in too deep. Novak looks to try and get him on the pit straight. He probably won't do it into turn 1, but he'll probably do it on the mountain straight when they come onto it. But just needs to keep it clean. He's already been in the wars once with Jack Prentice, and now he's going to try and make a move on Sean Cole.
He's come out of the slipstream a bit too early, but it's going to be Honda Power versus Porsche Power.
Around the outside comes Novak on Cole into Griffin's Bend. Will it end well or will it end in tears? Novak round the outside of Cole, stays out of the wall. Cole maintains 10th position.
Fair play to Novak. I mean, I know we gave him a bit of stick earlier for his opportunistic move, shall we say, on Prentice, but yeah, he's kept it clean. That's actually a really, really good battle between the two.
Giving each other respect all the way through as well, which is nice to see. Novak will be fancying his chances here for a top 10 finish on his pro category debut in Taco Tuesday. Can't seem to make his way through at the present moment, so he'll have to wait behind until they get onto the Conrad Straight, providing he keeps his car out of the wall.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so hard to follow, so fair play to him. I don't know how...
Oh, no. He's on the inside into Elba. That was too risky. Thankfully, did not make contact with Cole there. Go on board to see how close he is in the slipstream. There's a little bit of dirt on his windscreen, but that he won't be too fussed about that. He wants 10th position from the Porsche ahead. Get into the slipstream.
Honda does not have enough top straight line, does it?
His way through, he'll try and push Cole into a space, and Cole goes off, and that's all that Novak needs. He goes through up into 10th place. Cole will be disappointed with that.
Yeah, he will be. I think he was just, he sort of braked in the middle of the track there. I think he was sort of anticipating a dive on from Novak, and Cole just, he was in the middle of the track and just must have completely missed his braking zone. It's quite easy to do, but you need to be aware that when you go into the middle of the track, you're going to lose your braking reference. So he just went straight off the track. So Novak into the top 10, but I mean, I'm going to guess he's probably going to get about a 10-15 second penalty for what he did. So I don't think it's much loss for Cole. I think he'll get that position back.
Freeman is in for his final stop. We'll stay with him to see how quick of a pit stop he actually completes here. So many cars in the pit lane as well after retiring early on. It's quite manic, in all honesty. I wonder what the other race is going to be like from week in, week out. So I've clocked at 2 minutes 51. He's been in the box. And he's actually away
Wow.
in less than 5 seconds. That's the fastest I've seen anyone do. And he'll most certainly get out in front of Damien van der Waal, no problem.
That's Red Bull-esque. that's
Well, never
that's like an
mind Red Bull,
F1
that
pit
was more like
stop.
McLaren-esque.
Yeah.
They do hold the
Someone.
fastest pit stop now in Formula 1 history, do McLaren, so...
Yeah, yeah, they do. Yeah, that's comical. Yeah, it works. Works for Will, and he's getting second place. What an incredible result for him.
It will be. It'll be his best result in a long time as well. And given the field that we've been having this evening, he'll have most certainly have taken this at the beginning. He's only 10 seconds behind Arsenio, but he's not going to have enough time to catch him, unfortunately. But second place will most certainly do for the Frenchman.
And you know what? It's a long season, and Will is a fast driver. He is, like, I was his teammate, obviously, and we did that Imola race at the Swap Series where he won, and he had to win that on merit. That Mercedes was a rocket. It was really good, but he overtook. I can't remember the other what driver he was. He overtook him on turn one, and caught him up to overtook him and extended out a lead. And he was so consistent. He is a fast driver. He's just been really unlucky. I think the car choice he had last season probably just didn't suit him. But he looks at home in the Lambo, so I'm excited to see what Will can do in the rest of the season. Actually, now.
Had a few changes of car throughout his time on ACC. I don't know what it is in terms of the handling of the machines he's previously racing. He was in the McLaren. I think he was. I'm trying to think. Where else was he also driving in? Will, can you remember?
Not quite sure. I can't remember exactly, but he felt at home. He was in the Mercedes. He felt really good, but then I think since maybe the 1.9 update, he's probably just struggled a little bit. But sounds like he's at home. As Arsenio is on his final tour.
Is of this just under 6 kilometres of Mount Panorama in Bathurst, Australia. This will be a fine way to kickstart Arsenio's season from pole position as well. He's got the fastest lap. He's not led every single lap, but he's going to be coming away from this round with maximum points to his name. And what a result for Will Freeman and for Damien van der Waal, who haven't had this high of a result in Taco Tuesday for a long time.
No. And there'll be a few disappointed drivers out there, but there'll be some very ecstatic drivers. I mean, the guys who, qualified well, and, I'm looking at, obviously, Canavera, Schaefer, and, yeah, they kind of obviously thrown a good result away. So they really, if this is going to be, this looks like it's going to be a close championship, I feel, because Porsche does not win every race, I can tell you that much. So, but fair play to get the points on the board.
Just looking at Ivanov in the number 44, who's going, I don't think as fast as he would normally be doing. I don't know if he's backing off to help save him do another lap.
This windscreen has a bit of damage. I can just see him as on board.
Yeah, I think what he may do is just let the leader go through, so it saves him having to do another lap. But what a drive from Mauro Arsenio. No mistakes from the start. And it's the kind of starts of the season he'll have wanted to throw himself again as a championship contender in Taco Tuesday. He's almost coming up to lap Ivanov, who will come home in 13th position. But Arsenio is going to come away with maximum points here in Mount Panorama. Mauro Arsenio in the 99 Porsche from Portugal, rounding Murray's corner for the last time. He wins in Bathurst, in Mount Panorama, in Taco Tuesday in the FRL. It's a return to winning ways for the Porsche driver. Just over 10 seconds behind is Will Freeman, who will bring his 208 Lamborghini in second place. What an excellent performance. And just behind him will be the 433 McLaren of Damien van der Waal, 20 seconds clear of 4th place Nico Busov. The number 3 Audi is going to come through in 5th position. That is Kleiboer. Just trying to remember his first name. Looking through it's Michael Kleiboer, the Dutchman, coming through in 5th position on debut. That's a great result for him. Morgan Grace will hold off Ben Milden. And my money for driver of the day has to go to this man in your picture, Luke Prentice. 35th to 8th. What a drive from him.
I would agree. I would absolutely. I was just thinking of my driver of the day, and I couldn't think of anybody better than Luke Prentice. Absolute fair play to him.
Here's Mahulka in a strong ninth as well. Denis Novak closing on him in the closing stage as well, harrying him to the flag, but he's going to run out of time to make any more of an impression. He will come through. Jeffrey Godefroy, a number of laps behind, but he's got his car home in 23rd place. Sean Cole 11th, Connor Byers 12th, and Ivanov will come through as the last driver on the lead lap in 13th position. You can see the damage to his bonnet there, but he'll just want to bring that car home. He won't be finishing any lower than 13th because Armin Malduri has already taken the checker flag a lap down in 14th position. Just waiting for the last drivers to cross over the line. Stuart Hutchinson, 18th position as well in the number 46 BMW. That's a nice result for him. We've got the number 12 crawling over the line. That is Connor Byers doing so. No problem. He was on the last dregs of fuel, I would imagine. And Diman Ivanov, the Bulgarian, will cross over the line in 13th place and the last driver on the lead lap. But there is your race winner. It is Mario Arsenio in Taco Tuesday Tier 1 in Bathurst. Congratulations to him. Will Freeman coming home in second place with Demian van der Waal in third, had Nico Busov and Clive Bower in fifth. Morgan Grace, Ben Milden, Luke Prentice from the back of the grid to eighth. Arkadiusz Mihulka 9th and Denis Novak in 10th place. Sean Cole was 11th, followed by Connor Byers and Dimon Ivanov. Ahmed Al-Dori was 14th, had Kevin Druin and Jack Prentice. Kamil Makoski, who's hardly spoken about actually throughout this evening, he was in 17th position ahead of Stuart Hutchinson. And then it's Faster and Chris Gedman in 20th place. Hats off to him for getting to the end. Volker Brazil in 21st, had a Dobel. Jeffrey Godefroy, who was running at the top at the beginning of the race, having to come out in 23rd position. He'll be very, very disappointed with that. Spike was 4th, and Brinkoff actually got to the end of the race, taking the checker flag in 25th. Those that didn't make it to the checker flag, they were Adam Sharp, Francisco Sousa, Will Rayner, Fernando Ferreira, Steve Caruana, Joel Leher, Bruno Canavera, Peter Van Lyshout, Schaefer, and Melvin Krose, who were lost on the opening lap.
Some big drivers there. Some big drivers who will be licking their wins and will be looking forward to next week very, very quickly.
Well, they've got 7 days to practice for next week, and of course there is the Super Sprint Sunday that is taking place at the same circuit as what it will be in Tuesday, which is at Laguna Seca, so do make sure you tune into that, should it be broadcast by someone. So your last thoughts, Craig, on what you've seen today in this 90-minute special to open up the season?
After lap one, and shall I say after lap one, I mean, we kind of expected all of that carnage on lap one a little bit. I mean, we were saying how brilliant it was after turns 1 and 2, and then it all just went to, just didn't really go very well after that. But some good racing in behind. I think there was a lot of really kind of clean driving, I think, from the top 10, and some really, barely any mistakes really from the top 10. So I have to give my hat off to them, and some really good outstanding drives like Ben and Luke Prentice and Nico as well. But also, Will Friedman. I'm really happy for him. But long may it continue. We'll see the grid will definitely shake up so much more in the next few races. Different manufacturers, which is always a really good sign of a good season. So, thanks. Very good.
Very much for joining me in the commons position as well. Arsenio leaves this round with maximum points, a 4-point lead over Will Freeman in the title race, but we have only just done one round so far. As I mentioned, the next race will be at Laguna Seca. Unfortunately, I won't be around as I'll be in London for work commitments, but whoever is substituting for me will do as good of a job as what me and Craig have done. It's time to end the stream, but before, I'll just give one final mention to the championships that the FOL has to offer, including the late night Thursday series, as well as the sprint series on Sunday, the endurance races that's happening monthly, and every other week there is the sprint endurance races. And of course the ACC PC, there's the Team Sprint Cup on a Tuesday, the Rookies and Masters series on the Thursday, the late night party on the Friday, and the monthly endurance races for PC as well. It's time to end it there. Thank you, Craig, for joining me, and thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll do it again next week for whoever is around for then. I'm Tom Cairns. He's
I'm
Craig
Craig.
Flaw, and we'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.